What's up everyone? Now that I'm home, we can really dig into this movie, but as usual, with my movie reviews, the beginning will be spoiler free, and I'll warn you when I enter spoiler territory. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride because, well, this movie is more a movie of moments. Let me explain. So from the beginning, this movie is PG. So for some of you, when I reviewed the Demon Slayer film, told me you couldn't see the movie because of its R rating. Well, here, nothing to worry about. You can enjoy it, no problem. The movie starts off with a great pace and gets you hooked in as we see this criminal organization. Really, it's just a cult, but let's go with criminal organization. And they are slaughtering people with quirks using this toxic gas that only kills people with quirks. We get to see one human survive because they are quirkless, and that is when we are introduced to the villain of the movie, and that's none other than Fleck Chern. His motivations are pretty obvious, but he wants to help quirkless humans regain the planet and thinks quirks are more of a disease that should be removed from society. I think this is actually a pretty great plot point and makes for some great motivation from the villain of the story, as he has a goal and a reason for his goal. Despite it being insane, it makes sense from his point of view and from his motivations, so you can understand it, not agree with it, but understand it. The movie picks up from what most of the trailers cover, and that is our heroes all wearing their new badass costumes as they take planes and are going to literally jump out of planes for a surprise attack, which I won't mention here in the spoiler-free part. What I will mention though, because I feel people should know this, they only wear the new costumes for the opening sequence. Yeah, I'm speechless. You create these really damn cool stealth-looking costumes that I personally think look way better than their existing costumes, and we only get to see them for honestly like 5 minutes. So I just want to set your expectations if you haven't seen it yet, because personally that was one of the highlights for me, as I like the more streamlined designs. What I don't understand is I feel like this would have made more sense to get these outfits at the end of the movie as an extra piece of eye candy with new suits and amazing action sequences. Oh yeah, I will get into that in a second here, because the action sequences in this movie are money. You can tell this is where all the resources went, and they got their best people on this one, because the entire third act of this film is non-stop action with great visuals. I will say it's not the greatest looking anime I've seen, but I do have to give them credit because some sequences were incredibly daring and complex. And though at times I was like, the frames are lacking a little here, I forgive it for the scope they were going for. I will get into more detail in the spoiler section, but the second act of this film is where I have the biggest problem with it, and it can drag on. My man Forever said it best when he fell asleep.
And they had noticed that I fell asleep a couple times and was snoring. Yeah, I was snoring. Embarrassing moment there.
I went and took the opportunity for a bathroom break and got back and still felt like I missed absolutely nothing. But more on that, because this doesn't ruin the movie. As I said, the third act goes balls to the walls and you get what you're looking for in this movie. So if you're a fan of My Hero Academia and are caught up on season 5, then this is a movie you will want to watch, because it takes place around the same time as when Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto all work with Endeavor, and it picks up from there. Also, I want to mention, I went to the 7:30 at night showing, and it was a decent turnout, and a lot more people than I thought, because I thought I would honestly be the only one showing up to see it. But it's pretty cool to see the anime fans showing up to support movies like this. Though I gotta call out my theater, because they didn't even have a poster at the entrance, and just a generic numbered poster, which I thought was quite lame. And nowhere in the theater was a poster hanging anywhere. So anyway, I think if you choose to check this movie out, you will really enjoy it, but also set your expectations. It won't be the best movie you've ever seen, but it will be moments of amazing visuals that you won't want to miss. And that's what I meant by this is a movie of moments. All right, from here, it's all spoilers. So get ready, because we are diving deep. You've been warned. Now that we know the motivation of the main villain after the cool opening sequence with the cool suits that I mentioned, we see Deku chasing this new character we know as Rhodey, and he has a suitcase as he's doing a job for the organization. This sequence was a bit weird, but Deku just felt too goofy. during this entire chase. It just didn't feel like Deku. He has his awkward moments which attribute to his comedy, but this was him fundamentally just making careless mistakes as he's chasing Rhodey, which really just felt out of place for his character. When Deku finally catches up with Rhodey, we also learn that Deku has been framed for a bunch of murders, and it's been reported all over the news. And so now he's on the run, and this is where the movie starts to split up its characters and the beginning of the second act. Shoto and Bakugo are back to headquarters while Deku and Rhodey are on the road, and this is where the movie starts to drag on. We literally have the two of them hitching a ride in an old truck and going down the country road and smelling some flowers along the way. They start exchanging backstories, and Rhodey tells us about his tragic past and how his mother passed away and his father disappeared, and he was left to take care of his two siblings alone. So this gives us the reason why, despite Rhodey doing some bad things, they came from a good place because he had to in order to survive. His motivations here make sense and are good, but this entire situation just simply takes too long and feels like it's a solid 30 minutes of the movie. And the movie's only an hour and 30 minutes. We have a few mini fights here and there, but nothing spectacular. What I will say though is that Barros is badass. Her costume design is awesome. She looks like Green Arrow with a black face mask, and I'm here for it. It looks so good. Barros is the one who is constantly searching for Rhodey to kill him and get this briefcase that they are holding on to, but as things start looking bad for Deku and Rhodey, this is where Shoto and Bakugo finally show up again and assist Deku, forcing Barros to run off again. The four of them realize what's in the suitcase, and it's a USB type device that would shut down Fleck-Churn's evil plan and essentially eradicate all quirk users on Earth at the same time. This now takes us to the third act of the film, but before I get there, just another thing I want to mention. Endeavor and almost everyone else has a total of 3 to 5 minutes of screen time combined, maybe? We only see them for split seconds at a time, seeing they are off somewhere else trying to locate the bombs that were planted, but that's about it. I get the cast is huge, but it would have been nice to spend more time with the other characters, and they really could have done it during the second act. Cut the time spent with Rhodey and Deku and churn the second act and use it to flesh out the rest of the cast, and it would have improved the movie immensely for me. Anyway, Bakugo, Shoto, and Deku find the hideout where Fleck-Churn is, and they make their way inside, and this is where things immediately pick up. So if you were sleeping, now you're definitely not. The first villain we meet is Serpenter, and Bakugo stays behind to take this villain on by himself, and we really get to watch Bakugo just go balls to the walls here, as Serpenter is no joke. The visuals watching Bakugo fly around the screen and utilizing all his techniques was honestly something you just have to see because it was breathtaking. While that fight is going on, we also then get to see Shoto staying behind to let Deku keep running ahead, and Shoto is now going to take on Leviathan, which again, this one-on-one was just breathtaking. Watch Shoto also go all out, showing off everything he's learned and improved on along the way, and damn, is he looking better than ever, because Leviathan is just a complete beast. But I honestly can't get over the visuals for these sequences because they just look so good. Deku makes his way to the main floor where Fleck is, and now it's Deku's turn to also have his one-on-one because Shoto and Bakugo are still off fighting, so they can't help out at all. Fleck is just messing Deku up. It doesn't even look close. But the visuals during all of this is exactly where all the budget went, because just damn. Did this fight just look so good? Just so much visual candy all over the screen. Watching Deku fly around the screen fighting was something you really just gotta see in theaters. Deku seems like he's gonna lose, but Rhodey steps in and distracts Fleck, giving Deku enough time to finally get an opening, but Rhodey takes some serious damage himself here, but soldiers forward and tries to make his way to the computer to use the USB to stop the bombs. Deku is keeping Fleck busy so Rhodey can do this, and then we get to see Deku unlock more of All for One as he's on the brink of collapse, and now those eye-popping visuals just took acid because those things just go off even further and beyond now.
To infinity and beyond!
Deku is non-stop giving blows to Fleck until his mirror quirk just can't take it anymore. and is overloaded and just straight up gets his ass handed to him by Deku. I really just wanted to jump out of my seat when Deku yelled, "United States of Smash."
United States of
as his last-ditch effort against Flecht that just pummels him, and it was beautiful to see. It felt so rewarding. I felt like if All Might could have seen it, he would have had tears going down his face, as he would be so proud of Deku for achieving such a feat. I still don't think this is a move Deku can pull off frequently yet, but it's just showing his growth, and that's one thing I really liked seeing in this movie. The growth of the big three, all utilizing the new powerful attacks, showcasing just how badass each one of them are, and I was here for all of it. This movie definitely makes up for what we got in season 5, which I thought was still a good season, and if you want my thoughts on season 5, then click the link in the description. I have a video on that. In a nutshell, season 5 spent a lot of time setting up for future arcs, but didn't really offer much for us currently. But this movie kind of feels like the natural conclusion to season 5 for our heroes, as we see some payoff finally with their training they did with Endeavor. Overall, I thought this movie was pretty solid. The three main problems I had with it was the lack of attention to the rest of the cast. The main bad guy, Fleck Chern, was really only in moments of the movie until the end, and we only got him to draw out his motivations really toward the end of the movie. I feel like we really needed more time with him to flesh out his motivations. The last thing was the second arc. I already mentioned just how much time was spent on the relationship between Rhodey and Deku, which could have been better spent on the rest of the cast. I would have liked to see more of them, though Horikoshi did say he liked the character and would possibly use him in the future, so anyone thinking this movie isn't canon, I think that adds weight to the film being, well, canon. Though it's easy enough to also kind of ignore the movie in a way, because despite our heroes progressing, it's left in such a way the implications in the movie don't hinder the series moving forward to force it to do anything, and they can even just ignore Rhodey if they want to. I personally hope we see Rhodey again. I think he's an interesting character in his own way, but what I really want to know is, how did you feel about the movie? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, then consider subscribing, hit that like button as it helps me a lot, and click the bell to be notified when I drop my next video. That's it for this one. See you in the next video.